This is the Coach Darrin Chiaverini Show, brought to you by the NSU Alumni Association. The Coach Darrin Chiaverini Show is hosted by Ori the Voice Phillips with DJ Sean Solo and William Captain Morgan of the Riverhawk Sports Nest. The show is recorded live at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays at Emery's Grill in downtown Tahlequah. The Coach Darrin Chiaverini Show airs Fridays at 6 p.m. on Lakes Country 102.1. The video recording is aired on the Rogue Radio Network YouTube channel on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Please like, follow, and subscribe to the Rogue Radio Network. Now, on to the show.
Little different beverage choice tonight, boys. Huh?
I know.
A little too early.
Yeah, we got to be smart and
I got a soccer
more
match to
professional.
call tonight.
Gotta be professional. It is noon on a Wednesday.
Right.
Recording from Emery's Grill in downtown Tahlequah, this is the Darrin Chiaverini Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. I'm Ori Phillips, the voice of the Riverhawks, and I'm joined by the Riverhawks Sports Nest, consisting of DJ Sean Solo and Captain William Morgan. Alongside us is the leader of NSU football, head coach Darrin Chiaverini. Before we get to our conversation, we'd like to extend a big thank you to the program's presenting sponsor, the NSU Alumni Association. Membership in the NSU Alumni Association is the most visible way to show your Northeastern pride. It's also the only way to enjoy Riverhawks football in the comfort of the Bank First Green and White Room, the exclusive hospitality room at Riverhawks home games. Enjoy free food and live stream Riverhawk action. And Alumni Association members can also enjoy all homecoming activities. That's coming up pretty soon, about a month out, including golf and champagne bingo for free. Learn more about membership by visiting nsualumni.com. The Riverhawks enjoyed a bye this past weekend, but they took the field most recently September 20th against Westgate Christian, their third first-time opponent of the season. NSU soared to a 58-point victory, setting a modern-day program scoring record with 70 points, highlighted by 8 rushing touchdowns, which tied a program record itself. Defensively, NSU came down with 4 interceptions and allowed just 181 yards of offense from the Ravens. Coach, big win for that team, and obviously you talk about the records that were broken that day, the records that were either set or matched. Tremendous showing. What are your thoughts? You know,
it's kind of like what I was talking about earlier, is that I could tell early in the football game that we were the better team than our opponent, but what I liked the way that our team did was they played hard every single play, and we made the plays we were supposed to make. You know, sometimes you get in those games as a player, as a coach, you can tell you're better than the opponent, and you make mistakes. You turn the ball over, you know, things aren't going your way. You got penalties on both sides of the ball. I felt like we were dominant the entire game, except for that non-scoring drive, that first drive that we marched right down the field and got stopped on the goal line. But I felt like our guys didn't blink. They responded well, and I was proud of how hard and how we executed.
So, Sean, you've got tons of different candidates here for Banger Player of the Week. Who'd you go with?
Well, this week's Banger Player is a newcomer for this year. I was very impressed with his production and his physical strength. This player had 10 carries for 72 yards and 2 TDs. This week's Banger Player is Booker T. Washington's own sophomore running back, number 27, Ethan Washington. So, you'd said prior to the Westgate game, Coach, that one of our biggest focuses was establishing the run game and having success on early downs, which was on full display, having gained 366 net yards at 8.3 a carry. So with that being said, the run game was executed well. What did you learn from the team's performance and how that can translate going forward?
It just shows that we can play clean football consistently, and that's the key for us. It's like, when I was talking about us sitting at 2-2, I firmly believe we should be 3-1, but we didn't play well enough in that game against Missouri S&T. We weren't clean. We got takeaways, but we gave it right back to them. And so what it showed me in our development as a team and as a program is that we can play at a very high level, we can play clean football, and we can execute at a high level. Doesn't matter the opponent. Yeah, obviously the opponents matter, but like I said before, I've been in those games as a coach where you're a better team than them and you don't play that way.
Yeah.
And so I was proud of the way our guys played, and when I watched the film on Sunday morning, our guys played hard every single play on every phase of our team. And the young guys, when they got in there, they knew what to do, and they executed their assignment. And that's what you want to see as a head coach. You want to see if your coaching is showing up from all your coaches, and it did show up in this game.
And then switching to the passing game from Donnie Smith was solid and effective. And obviously he didn't need to go to the air since the run game was racking up the yards. But one of my pregame keys I was wanting to see Mikey Henderson have that breakout game, especially with, Chenault on the sideline. Mikey's had some tough misses early this season and has the talent to be a solid number 2 this week against West Florida. How is Mikey prepared this week to help spread the field and be a difference maker?
Yeah, I think Mikey's doing a good job. He's been practicing at a high level. And I told Mikey this, all you can control is your attitude and your effort, man. Just come out to practice, have a positive mindset, have a purposeful mindset that you want to get better, and that's what you can control. And then the games will come to you. I think sometimes early in the season, I felt like he was pressing a little having the success he wanted to have. I said, look, man, just keep playing. It's going to start to turn your way. As long as you practice hard and you play hard and you know your assignment, the game will come to you. And so I'm looking for Mikey to still have that breakout game like you guys are, but it's going to come for him because he is talented and his practice habits are getting better. And I told him that if you want to play at an elite level, you have to practice at an elite level.
Right.
You can't take plays off. You can't miss things. And so he's playing at a high level in practice, which is it's gonna work out for him. And I've been proud of him. His attitude's gotten a lot better too.
Yep.
So you already mentioned how we played hard every single snap. And we've seen before offensively teams come out slow against teams that they know they have a great chance against. And then we've also seen on the defensive side instances where teams give up those explosives and you let the opposing offense hang around. We didn't let that happen, and in fact, positive yardage gains were hard for Westgate to come by, and they only ended up with 181 yards overall. They're on the negative side of net rushing yards. The total yards were the fewest surrendered in a game since 2011. We grabbed 4 more picks. Marvelous Owens, he became the first NSU player with 3 interceptions through the first 4 games of a season for us since 2008. What did that game do specifically on the defensive side? Because we know there have been injuries. We know we've been getting beat up in recent weeks leading up to that Westgate game, but what did that do defensively, building confidence, that strong performance against Westgate?
Yeah, we needed that defensively. I felt like our run fits were a lot better. And even though I felt like we had better personnel than Westgate, we were in the right gaps. We had the run fits. The safeties were supposed to be, the linebackers were they're supposed to be, and guys were making plays. And that's what we got to do as a defensive unit. You got to be sound in gap integrity, and you got to be very sound in your run fits. And I feel like our defense is getting better. And even though we're gonna play better opponents down the stretch, we have got to build confidence too. And I think that was a good confidence builder for our defense and our defensive staff. And you're going to see us keep evolving throughout the season.
All right, Coach. So let's talk about feeding the crew and spreading the wealth. Now we actually had 6 different guys scoring touchdowns, the 10, and yet everyone on the sideline that got involved in this part of this historical win with the records that were set, the modern day records, and the fans felt the energy from the team. So let's talk about that kind of all hands on deck performance and what's been built up to this point in the locker room.
I think our culture is getting better, and that's part of rebuilding a program, right? We know where NSU, the struggles they had the last 10 years. And even in year one, we didn't have a great culture in year one yet because we had so many new players last year. Guys didn't trust each other. Guys didn't know each other. Coaches really didn't know each other. But year 2 now, we have a lot of our team back from last year. We added some new pieces. The majority of our staff's back from last year. We're just building a better culture, and it starts in practice. I mean, I've seen better practices from us the last couple of weeks than we've had since I've been here. And that's them working hard, being intentful with their mindset on how they attack practice. And we talk about there's 3 different mindsets that people have every day. Either have an irritated mindset where you get up in the day, you don't want to talk to people, you don't want no one to talk to you, so it reflects in your actions. You got a survival mindset, which means you're just trying to get through the day. You're not really trying to get better, but you're not being negative, you're just trying to survive the day. Most people kind of work in that survival mindset. And then you have the elite performers and the elite people in business and the elite people in organizations that have what's called a purposeful mindset. They have a purpose. Every day they get up, they're trying to get better. They're positive with their inner talk. They're positive with their communication with their coworkers or with their teammates. And if you want to be successful in anything in life, you got to be more on the purposeful mindset and get out of irritated and stay away from survival mode. And so I've been trying to work on our mindset with our team and talking to them about living in the purpose mindset and having a vision for yourself every day, being intentional. And so I'm starting to see our culture develop, and I like what I'm seeing.
Well, Coach, kind of expand on that. So, I mean, a lot of the fans have been seeing, they've been waiting to see this turn that you're talking about right now, and that's what you're building on. So the sense, the narrative that you're changing, but the things you just talked about, they're changing in the community as well. But tell me how you're feeling that from the fans. I know you're building that in the locker room, but how are you getting that? How are you feeling that in the community, like this room full of people right here?
I can feel. I mean, what I noticed with our home games is that we get great energy, even in that Missouri S&T. Even though the game didn't turn our way, which is football sometimes. Sometimes ball doesn't bounce your way. I could tell our crowd was into the game. There was great energy on the sidelines. There was great energy with our student section. There was great energy with the fans. And our fans are excited to come to games. I mean, they're excited to see what's going to happen. And they expect to win now. And everybody expects to win. I expect to win. And I'm upset when we don't win. But I think that was maybe missing before. Mm-hmm. But now, just like you guys are disappointed when we don't win, like the fans are disappointed. It's not like before where, hopefully we can hang until halftime, right?
Right.
Now we want to win. And we expect to win, and we train that way, and we coach that way, and our players want that, and our fans want it, the administration wants it, and that's why we got to continue to put resources into the program. If we want to elevate, we got to continue to support the program in a positive fashion. And if we do that, we can be one of the top programs here very, very soon. We're not there yet. We're still building, but we're getting there, and that's how you build a program.
No doubt about that, and evidence that the perception of NSU football is changing. The fact that Quarterback Club packed out today. This is the new site of the Darrin Chiaverini Show, Quarterback Club, every Wednesday afternoon. But this room here at Emery's Grill, downtown Tahlequah, packed to the gills. It's an exciting time here in Tahlequah. More excitement coming this Saturday because coming to town, number 3, West Florida. We talk more about that matchup when we return. You're tuned into the Darrin Chiaverini Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. Welcome back to the show. A reminder that during football season, you can catch the show in person and live at Emery's Grill on Wednesdays as part of the Northeastern State Quarterback Club. Make sure to visit GoRiverRocksGo.com and learn how you can become a backer of NSU. You can also listen on the official radio home of NSU Athletics, Lakes Country 102.1, Friday nights before Keys football at 6. The show can also be heard on demand from the NSU Athletics website and Spotify. While this marks the first season that a video production of the show can be watched on demand on YouTube through the Rogue Radio Network channel. We'll continue the conversation, but first we'd like to thank our official radio sponsors for this season. Without their support, this show would not be possible. Tahlequah Family Vision Clinic, Archer Cleaners, Northeastern State University Relations. I believe Dan's actually here today at the show. Chick-fil-A Tahlequah, The Wash Barn, Riverside Liquor, Napoleon's Italian Restaurant, The Shockley Group, JT Van Attorney at Law, Rose Rock Coffee, Health First Chiropractic Clinic, Edward Jones German McClure, Northeastern State University College of Extended Learning, and again another reminder that this show is brought to you by the NSU Alumni Association. Another first-time matchup this Saturday. We welcome third-ranked West Florida, the Argonauts out of Pensacola. And West Florida, certainly, again, a big opportunity for us. This is part of a home-and-home agreement that will see us going to the Sunshine State to face them in 2026. Like us, they had a bye week this past weekend. They're 4-0, perfect record. An NSU win against the Argos this weekend will mark the first for Northeastern against a ranked team in football since we knocked off Tarleton State on October 26th of 2002. Coach, big opportunity for the guys this weekend. These are the type of matchups that everyone lives for. Big chance. What are your thoughts?
Excited for the opportunity for our team to showcase our talents against a very good football program. Their staff does a really good job. They're well coached. They got good players. Obviously, they're top 5 team in the country that has a good tradition. They won a national championship just a few years ago, and I'm excited for this opportunity. I feel like we match up well. I like our skill against their skill. Our bigs against their bigs. And it's just a good opportunity to compete against a top program and, put ourselves on the map too. So I love playing these games as a player, and I love playing them as a coach.
Marcus Stokes is their quarterback. He's a former 4-star recruit. He has the ability to win games with his arm. He's tossed multiple touchdowns in 3 of the first 4 games for West Florida this season. And in his 12 starts as an Argonaut, he's hit multiple passing touchdowns in 8 of them. Not especially mobile, at least based off the numbers, just 18 rushing yards per game on average this season, and he's tossed 5 picks this year. Again, remember, our defense has 9 interceptions across the season, including 8 across our 2 home games. Simply put, Stokes a great player, but how do we force him into having a rough day at the office?
You got to get him out of his comfort zone. You got to make him make throws that he's not comfortable making, and that happens with pressure. We got to be able to get off blocks up front. We got to be able to rush the passer. We got to be able to bring pressure in his face and get the ball out of his hands. And the way you do that is you get him in second and long, third and long situations. We got to keep him out of third and shorts, second and shorts, and make them have to throw the football to where now you can bring pressure and drop people into coverage and force him to make mistakes. You know, he's a good player. He was a 4-star recruit for a reason. He's one of the highly recruited guys in the country. Had some off the field issues, but that's why he's at West Florida. But great chance for our defense to play against a really good quarterback.
Well, Coach, behind Stokes, you had mentioned before there's 2 proven running backs in Land and Sharp. They've got their proven ability to turn in big runs to help their momentum. Let's talk about the preparation from your defense to not just contain those guys, but really just try to send a message that you're just not going to run right here.
We got to make sure that we're sound tacklers in this game because they get a lot of yards after contact. They break tackles. They make guys miss in space. And so we got to be a really sound tackling football team. Our tackling's getting better. Still not where I want it to be as a head coach, but I see us getting better. I see us working on it consistently at practice. And so I'm a firm believer if you train at a high level, you'll play at a high level. And so I want to see our guys tackle well on first and second down, get them in third and long situations.
Now, on the flip side with the Argonauts defense, they are a veteran group. You know, their linebackers, Walker Robinson and Jacoby Clinton, both have recorded 16 solo tackles each this season. And defensive lineman Kevin Roberts has recorded 3.5 sacks, 7 solos, and 6.5 TFLs so far this season. Now, several players have had the opportunity to see action against Westgate and gain some experience. So how do you see our O-line matching up and getting physical up front with you've got more players seeing more experience and getting that real game experience?
You know, I think we match up well. I mean, their defensive line is talented, but they're not overly big. You know, they're about 255, 265, 270 pounds in the interior, and their defensive ends are athletic, and they get upfield and they get pressure on the quarterback. Both those linebackers are very good football players. They make a lot of plays. I've watched 4 games on film. They fly around. They're good tacklers. They're athletic. They got speed. And so they can present a problem. They like to bring pressure. So, you know, we got to have a good game plan, which I feel like we do. But more importantly, we just got to worry about what we're doing. I mean, they're a sound defense. We know where they're going to be. We got to execute the game plan, and guys got to make plays. We got to make throws. We got to block people. Do the simple things simple, and you know we'll have a good plan against them.
So in the last 2 games, we've reached the end zone 5 times through the air with touchdowns to 4 different receivers. West Florida's solid pass defense. They rank in the top 30 nationally in yards per attempt against opposition, and they're in the top half in opposing passer efficiency. You know, that's a back end that when you talk about, you know, numbers from last season, not a ton of guys that had big contributions on that 2024 team, but they've got some 4-year transfer guys in there, including from the Division I level. And so far this season, that secondary, even with some of the youth they've injected as well, they've been impressive. What challenges do they present to you guys? And we already talked, I know, in the last segment about Mikey. You know, we've also seen some great stuff lately from Cam Jackson. What do you think we need to do to set up explosives this week?
You know, I mean, the reason why they're so efficient on defense is their front is very good. Their front 7 is very sound. They stop the run. I think they're only giving up, 50 yards a game maybe on the rushing totals. So we got to be effective when we run the ball. You can't just run traditional runs at these guys. They're gonna snuff out, you know, counter and inside zone. So I think you got to be creative on how you attack them. But then when we throw the ball, you got to be efficient against these guys. You can't drop quick game. You can't drop back passes. You got to be efficient, stay on schedule, stay ahead of the chains, put yourself in 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 2s like we did a couple weeks ago, like we did against Saginaw. We were always ahead of the chains in Saginaw. And then, you know, in our loss against Missouri S&T, we were always behind the chains. We were always 2nd and long, 3rd and long. Can't play football that way. It's just tough to play football that way. You got to stay ahead of the chains. And so we got to stay on schedule as an offense, and then we got to be sound on defense. We can't allow them to run the ball down our throat, and we got to put them in 3rd and long situations where we can pressure and get them off the field.
Well, my next question is kind of about kind of getting to your head, but you know, we've seen some more trends cycling back through the pro and the college ranks. You know, we've seen an emphasis on the run game and having the quarterback under center to kind of keep the defense honest. And, you know, as a veteran play caller yourself, you know, what is your take on this trend, and, you know, how does it translate, you know, to continue to develop and grow the program?
Well, I think you can't compare pro football and college football. It's totally different offensive philosophies, offensive schemes. I mean, pro football's been living under center for years. They still do it. Most teams are still in that West Coast offense where they're under center, run inside, outside zone. College game, I think you see a mixture of it. It depends on what kind of offensive philosophy you're living in. If you're a spread team, you're not going to be under center much. If you're a pro-style team like a Georgia or, like an Alabama at times or maybe a Clemson at times, then you're going to be under center more. Right. So it just depends on what kind of offensive system you run. We're a combination of spread and pro-style. We do both. We're under center. We're also in the gun. We're also in the pistol. So I think there's advantages to each of them. We'll be under center a little bit in this game. We'll be in gun a little bit. We'll be in pistol a little bit. So I think it really goes back to what kind of offensive philosophy you run and what do you want to hang your hat on. You can't be a flavor of the week offense. You got to have a system and you got to hang your hat on something. Right. And so I'm a firm believer you got to run the football to set up the pass. And you got to be able to play action. And so if you want to win championships, you got to run the football on offense. You got to stop the run on defense.
Right. All right, Coach, I'm going to talk to you as a fan here for just a moment. And we've already talked about Riverhawk Nation. We're hungry for a signature win or for a change, which has already been happening. The change and the hope is here now that of what we're doing, we're expecting to win. This weekend would be a signature win. But I'm just going to give you the floor for a moment and see kind of what role you like that you see everybody playing from your team to the fans, to the coaches, to the recruits coming in. Just kind of give you the floor to talk about that for just a moment.
I mean, the main thing that we got to continue to do is we got to continue to support this football program. We got to continue to put resources into the football program. We got to be able to get our coaches on the road recruiting, because if you want to build and retain and develop your roster, you got to be able to go out and get more talent to add to your roster. And so I think that's the biggest thing from the community and the university, which the university is doing a great job of supporting us and helping us build this program the right way. I think the fans just showing up and bringing energy to the game, we feel it. I noticed a big difference from this year than last year. Last year there was games that were some energy, but this year I can feel the energy. Even against Westgate when there was a 1 o'clock kickoff, man, people were there, people were excited, and there was energy in the crowd. And I can feel that our fans not only expect to win, but want to win. And I love what we're building. And, as coaches, we got to continue to just set the tone. It's our job as coaches to bring the energy every day. It's our job as coaches to set the example. And we got to continue to develop our culture. Our culture is getting there. It's not where I want it just yet, but I see it getting better. And that's what you want. You want to see progress as a head coach. You never arrive. You're always trying to develop. You're always trying to get better, and we're getting better. And that's what I like as a head coach, that I'm seeing growth with our team and our staff.
Should be an exciting atmosphere this Saturday. It is worth mentioning, too, it will mark the Indigenous Peoples game at Doc Wadley Stadium. So if you got a tribal ID card or CDIB, you get free admission. So make sure you come out and support the Riverhawks as they take on the Argonauts. One more segment to go, and it's the Captain's Catch with Captain Morgan. He'll look at a player he's got his eye on for this week's pivotal matchup against the third-ranked team in the land. We also get final thoughts from the table. It's next on the Darrin Chiaverini Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. Back now on the Darrin Chiaverini Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. We have a few more things to get to, Captain's Catch, as well as our weekly drawing with the Alumni Association. But first, a reminder that we will be live from Tahlequah this Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff against number 3 West Florida on Lakes Country 102.1, the official radio home of NSU Athletics. We'll also be live on the MIAA Network. Radio coverage starts with the Countdown to Kickoff show at noon with myself and DJ Sean Solo on the call. We go to Captain Morgan now. A lot of different players that'll play big roles in this one. Who have you particularly got your eye on for this week's Captain's Catch?
Yeah, boys, that was tough. It was tough this week. But I picked this week, Captain's Catch is Ramon McKinney for a couple of reasons. He's shown that he's got the speed outside, and he's been able to prove, running between the tackles. But this weekend, if he's able to do what he does, get his yards, and the second key to that is that he's getting his yards to get everybody else open, so that coach can come in and do his coaching how he does. So it's like Ramon's got to get his yards, but that can't be it. So it's kind of like he's got to do that to set everything else up, and that's what I'm looking for him to catch in for this offense for this upcoming weekend.
Well, it's going to be a big test for Ramon because he has dominated the field every single time he's stepped on it this year, but he's taken on a West Florida run defense that only gives up about 1.5 yards a carry on average. But again, we'll see just what Ramon can do against those guys. One final reminder that the most visible way to show your Northeastern pride is through membership with the NSU Alumni Association. Make sure to download the Green and White Network mobile app for alumni and tap the Coach Chev Show tile. Fill out the form to enter to win a $25 Visa gift card while you receive a generous discount offer for Alumni Association membership just for taking time to fill it out. We'll do our weekly drawing right now. Coach Chev, if you don't mind, dig into the NSU Alumni Jar and get us to name the winner of this week's $25 Visa gift card.
And the winner is Alexander McElmore.
Big congrats to Alexander McElmore. So, again, make sure you download the Green and White Network mobile app for alumni, tap the Coach Chev Show tile, fill out the form to enter to win. Your name could be in this jar next week. But a great show overall. Coming out of the bye weeks, hopefully you're feeling a little more refreshed. Big-time matchup, though, this week. One of the biggest in Division II, I would say. Number 3 team in the land coming to town. We have a chance to get our first ranked win since 2002. Final thoughts from the table. We'll start with Sean.
I'm just excited. I'm excited for the matchup. I'm excited for the energy. I'm excited. I know this team like the back of my hand, and so I know they are up for the task. And honestly, as a fan, as what I know, I love it when we're the underdogs. I know mentally we expect to win. I expect to win, but I love playing the underdog. So we can go out there and do what we do.
Yep.
One of the things that it's so many firsts this year with the opponents that we're playing, Coach. And I know North Alabama was a different atmosphere for us. But I know seeing the athletes there, and there'll be some comparable ones there from West Florida, and it's nothing that y'all haven't. I don't think it's anything that y'all haven't seen so far this year. So I'm excited to see how your players match up, how your coaches get out there and just get after it and stay hooked up. And there's going to be ups and downs in the game, but just trying to get when it's down for us, getting the momentum swung back in our way. And that's I think that could happen either by defensive plays, defensive scoring, special team scoring, those types of deals. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend to see what the coaches put on the field.
Final thoughts, Coach?
Before I get the final thoughts, obviously it will be an October game, so it's breast cancer awareness.
Yep.
So our players will be wearing pink accessories, and then my wife Shannon made special shirts for the coaches to wear in the game. Everybody's been affected by cancer or breast cancer in some way. Shannon's mom has been going through a battle, and then also Teresa, one of my mother-in-laws, she's going through a battle. And so, everybody's been touched by cancer in some way. And so I think it's important for our players and our staff to just have that awareness and wear pink. So we're going to wear a lot of pink this Saturday in honor of that. And, I encourage our fans to do that as well. But final thoughts on the game, I'm just excited for the opportunity to go against a top team. I like where our program's gotten to in 21 months. I'm disappointed we're not 3-1, but that's just me as a coach. But I want to see us, take that next step and get that statement win at home. It's a great opportunity for us. So we're going to have a great game plan on offense and defense, and then let's go play football. They still got to turn the scoreboard on and put the ball down, and the refs got to blow the whistle. So let's go play football.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. River Rocks Argonauts' first time ever in football. 1 p.m. this Saturday. Coverage beginning on Lakes Country 102.1 at noon with myself and DJ Sean Solo. Until next time, this has been the Darrin Chiaverini Show presented by the NSU Alumni Association. We'll catch you this Saturday.